Gaming, and welcome to Planet Coaster. It's the first time around we're playing this game, or it's not my first time, but it took quite a while until I was comfortable putting out a video on it. So we're going to be making a child-friendly type of park, as you might have seen from the splash screen there in the beginning. This is going to be called Average Kingdom, which is fun and it's definitely going to be average. Not much more to say about that. We're going to be going with a little bit of a child-friendly color scheme as well. I seem to remember some article somewhere about children reacting positively to bright colors in terms of they like it more, which is kind of sort of why we're going for this wicked blue color here. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really sure whether or not I myself find it particularly good looking, but it works, I suppose. And I feel like when we get further into this, it worked fine. This is by the way the first time lapse I've ever done. That is to say, this is probably the fourth Planet Coaster Park that I'm working on, trying to make it specifically oriented towards YouTube. So I made a couple of time lapses in that regard, but I've never actually made a time lapse and put it on the channel. So this will be the first one ever. So congrats for being part of that, I suppose. I would say that there's probably a lot of room for improvement, and I would really hope that you, the community, and the people watching would be interested in throwing some feedback my way and some comments, some suggestions on how to make things look better and better in general. I have still to figure out a way to have a sort of welcome to Average Kingdom kind of sign somewhere. So that's something I will definitely have to figure out at some point, and how to incorporate that into the opening here. One thing I did not do this time, but I've done it plenty of other times. Usually I've left myself a whole bunch of room, usually a little bit more than I necessarily needed in the entrance area. This time it might be a little on the short side in terms of what we can put down, and that also limits the amount of signing or welcome signage possible. This park is going to be somewhat budget, somewhat down to earth, and not going to have the money like Disney and Universal does with their crazy amounts of details and attention to detail in general. But they're going to try their best, and they're going to do what they can to make it look decent, but not the same almost sickish kind of attention to detail that Disney and so on has. This being the entrance building, we're gonna also be building a ticketing building this episode that will be sort of where you buy your ticket. This will be where you enter the park and where you scan your ticket, so to speak. And at some point we're gonna have to throw in some of those machine thingies that I don't know what it's called, with like 3 arms. And you walk through it and it turns around and you get to enter. You try to walk the other way and it doesn't work. But that will be something we'll have to look at in the future, I think. I've also thought about maybe having sort of like a window display thing where you just walk up to that and there's a staff member behind the window who accepts your ticket. That might also be something we do. I don't know yet. I would say it depends a little, I suppose, on what you guys think. We're going to be trying to make it look like, when all things come to when it comes down to it, putting down flowers and trees is really cheap compared to putting down other sorts of beautifications, in lack of better terms. We're probably going to be spending a lot of time putting down flowers and flower beds of sorts, um, because it's cheap compared to a lot of other stuff like you can put out. Of course, the flowers is also going to be most of the time, at least, going to be sort of the same colors as we're working on in the buildings. This being, of course, this light blue, light red, and green color. And I feel like the green is a nice contrast to the other colors. The red and the blue also works all right, I suppose, but not as good of a contrast to as green is. That said, though, in general, making things look good is not my strength. I'm much better at strategic thinking and such, or at least that's what I tell myself. That might not be true though, but um, so if you guys have any thoughts on how to design the place better, please be sure to leave that in the comment section. I really want some sort of water display in the entrance of some sort. Might come back to this and make also a waterfall thing at some point. But that will, I mean, the park when it opened would probably just have had something like this. And I'm taking this from parks near me that just have some very, very simple fountain display thing going on. And by all means that works, but I feel like when money starts rolling in, you might want to it might be something that they would look into improving upon. I know that a lot of the big parks around the world have a lot of detail or attention to detail when it comes to sightlines and what you can see, what you can't see. And although this will never be as crazy in that regard as those places are, it still feels like it should be some sort of thought going into it. I feel. As for the building here, of course, going to be with the same garish blue light colored thing, and that has gone down already. So that's something we're definitely gonna do. As for the middle there, I figured I'd just put down some sort of cardboard or not cardboard, some sort of board that would signal that this is closed. Had a quick look at maybe doing the using the waffle there, but that turned out not so great. Of course, this would be removed once or if the middle ticket store was also open. These, of course, being information desks. I tried to fit it behind, but it wouldn't flip right at all. So it turns out to be, or it ends up being just on the outside. I think that works out fine. I mean, no, not really great, not really bad either. So yeah. I'm trying to figure out if there's any way I can bridge the gap in the middle there. Decide to rather just move the whole building or make the whole building just a little bit bigger. And we're gonna be trying to place down some sort of tower on it, which I struggle with a little in the beginning, going a little overboard with how big that should be. Obviously, this right here becomes very big and looks real weird. So we're gonna skip out on that one, I think, and make a couple of smaller ones instead, or like this, and with some sort of roofing. I tried to figure out what kind of roof works better, and I end up with these ones, and I think that works really well. And it's a ready-made item, which is even better. because it saves a lot of pieces and it saves a lot of time as well. I'm probably gonna be using, as far as we can, using ready-made pieces. I mean, I'd love to be as good with details and attention to detail as people like Geekism and Mando Santa and Bro Coaster and all the big names in the Planet Coaster community. But that's just not skills that I don't. That's just skills that I don't have. I try a little bit here and there though, like these little TV mounts um, to hold the screen up or to hold the sign up. But that's about as far as it goes for me, unfortunately. I'm not really sure about the clock there. It is super big compared to the size of things. And of course, with the wheel on the other side makes it. I'm not so sure. Not going to place those balloons anywhere anytime soon, but I kind of sort of wanted to just have a look at them. Maybe we can use them later. I think they would work great in a park like this. Of course, most parks have the area of the park walled off or fenced off, I should say. And this park would not be any different. Naturally, it's somewhat covered up, and that's, I think, fairly common to cover the fences up. This is not really something you want visitors to see at all. So yeah. As for this area here, at some point we'll have to fill it in with something. And of course, the entrance not gonna go there. I don't show this on when I do it in a later video, but I do place the entrances back in the tunnel where the people come from. And I'm thinking maybe we'll look into making the tunnel more done. Make the tunnel look better. I'm just crazy pleased with how the pathing here turned out. Mostly because I struggle so much with the path in this game. And for some reason it turns out to just work this one time. So I'm crazy happy with it. Not so happy with the tiny fences here, because I kept the angle snap on a little bit longer than I should. Of course, I went back and fixed that. I mean, I feel like most flower beds and parks and similar areas are fenced in some way, but they usually have smaller fences, much like this one. And that's also sort of what we're going for right here with this. And I would say works. I would say works. You be the judge, I suppose. It's definitely not perfect, but it sort of works. And maybe throwing in a little tree in the middle there just to fill in the space a little more. I think that works out well. But I'd love some feedback on it. I mean, I'm not a designer of any sort. If anything, if this was my job, I would be more on the business side than I am on the design side of things, without a doubt. So yeah, I'd love some feedback, some comments, and some suggestions on how to make things, look better, and how to make it more natural, more realistic. I'm gonna do some research before throwing down coasters and such in order to make them sort of fit their narrative, fit where they belong in the world. In terms of wooden roller coasters and what kind of coasters usually are made out of wood, what kind of coasters are usually made out of, other sorts of coasters. So try to keep it a little on the if not realistic, at least on the real side of life. Try to find some kind of canopy to have over here. This one turns out to be a little bit big, for the simple reason that it clips with the screens there, which of course is going to be the ticket screens where you see the prices and all sorts of stuff. These ones look really weird, and I really don't like them, but they're the only ones I can find that fit. So those are the ones we're gonna use. Of course, you can use the vendor ones, and I haven't looked into those particularly well. Usually, mostly because they advertise some sort of item or other that not necessarily fits with the theme. These railings here are, of course, the type that you put down in order, depending on what kind of lines you see, um, and they would be removed and changed out if or changed the layout of them, depending on how many visitors the park has on any given day, and would also be changed a little if the middle ticketing booth was open. Not really sure how it would be changed, but you know. Hello there, and welcome back to the live. I suppose never done this before, so probably going to be some wiggity wonkety going around. We've placed down the entrance area, the ticketing. Obviously, based on the size of these things, this park is obviously not going to be huge, and we've gone for like a sort of fairy tale, fantasy, more like probably kind of theming area. Stuff isn't really designing stuff isn't really my strong suit, so there's probably going to be a lot of improvement possibilities going around. But I feel like it looks all right. Nothing major, nothing great, nothing one way or the other. It's completely fine. All I'm saying, this is nothing like the big Planko players out there. Obviously, we need to figure out some way to make this look less wonky and for it to connect through here. I think that's going to be fine, but that, of course, is going to be in the next episode. So for now, let's just take a quick little walkthrough of the area. I'm not sure what to do with this area yet. Would be awesome to have like a water kind of thing happening here, but I don't think we can like fit it properly. We'll see though. Of course, coming over to the ticketing area, which is meant to be where you come in here, buy your ticket, and then you exit and go this way. And since these are temporary, obviously, they would be moved around if this was open. I'm not so sure as to how they would place it then. Maybe they'll have a third entrance going this way with a lot of people going out here. I don't know. That will be a issue for them to figure out if when or if that happens. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this little attempt at making stuff look decent. If you did, please smack that like button. If you got any thoughts, any comments, suggestions, maybe even some feedback, please leave it down below in the comment section. And I'll hopefully see you guys next time. Till then, here we out.